Hi, and welcome. You're at our first of 5 live streams when we're focusing on fines. My name is John Long, and I'm a technology program specialist with the Department of Educational Technology. We're glad that you're here with us, whether you're watching it live or if you watch it recorded, that's great too. So today is a very special day. We're really excited about our fines project. And we want to tell you a little bit about that. This is about research. We're focusing today on students in grades 6 through 12. Don't forget elementary. We haven't forgotten you. We're working on that as we speak. So today we're focusing on secondary fines, which is going to be a little fun for you a little bit as we go through today. So let's talk about what is fines. Well, fines is a project that was developed by the Florida Association of Media and Education, otherwise known as FAME, and it was recently updated by the Florida Department of Education. Had media specialists from all around the state come and revise it, and they aligned it to the best standards. And down below, you'll see a short link to our to that website to the Florida Department of Education. And so if you want to go and see the alignment to the different standards, they're aligned to best standards, which is good because we're moving to the best standards this next year for secondary. And you can click on that link in the chat and you can actually go to that website, and there's some supporting documents as well. So let's kind of get into it a little bit more about the different things. So what is fines? Well, fines is an acronym because we love acronyms in education. And if you have any ideas how you want to strategies, if you're in the chat, go ahead and chat those. The F starts with focus, and that's what we're going to focus on today. We're actually going to focus a little bit about the topic or the problem. Then comes the I. I is for investigate. And so we're going to talk about search strategies. We're talking about using databases, going from Google to databases. We're going to talk about other things in part of our strategies. So there's lots to talk about in the I and the special resources as well. Then we're going to go on to the N. N is for notes. So in the notes section, it's about taking notes. So we're going to talk about using Twitter notes. We're going to talk about other strategies for taking notes, how to document your research, and we're going to talk about Google Keep and how to color code it. So we've got lots of things to talk about in notes. Then is the D, which is develop. Develop is going to be where they develop a product based on their research. So you can use any kind of project that you want to, but we're going to use a specific project that we'll talk about in our D section called Adobe Creative Express Cloud. And then comes the S, which is the self-evaluate. Now, that's pretty self-explanatory, but we'll talk more about that as we get into it. We've created a support website that we have some support documents on our website that align with the state fines model. And you can find that at this link. And it's going to have these videos posted as well as other resources. They're going to be included as we go through the fines. And so this is, like I said, is the first of 5. So we hope that you'll join us for the INDS as well. And so we can't wait to see what the students have projects, because we actually have a class or 2 that are going to be modeling this project as we go through this process. So we're very excited about that. So let's go into today's focus. Today, we're going to be focusing on putting the F in fines. And this is kind of a broad topic. So that's why we're doing the brief overview. So for those of you that are not in Florida, you may not know about fines. And so, like I said, it's a brief overview. And so we're going to focus on the F. That's one of the hardest things for students to really wrap their minds around and narrow that focus about what they're going to research. And we're actually going to be using a novel called Dreamland Burning. It's by Jennifer Latham. And the students picked this book, which is one reason why it's important. And they had actually had a pre-discussion about that. We'll talk about that in just a minute. So they're using this project as a basis for their discussion. And when we get up to the classroom discussion in a little bit, you're going to see them, after they've read the first third of the book, talk about different topics they want to research. And this is going to be their research project. They're going to own it and they're going to research it. And so we're excited to show you about what they're doing. So it's going to be really cool. So I'm hoping you're really excited about it. And then after that, we're going to actually talk about what is your focus or problem for the research. So this is something that's got to be specific. It can't be narrow. I mean, it can't be too broad. We want it to be narrow, is what I meant to say. So what is your focus or the problem? So our next step is we're going to share with you a little introduction of our teacher, which is Miss Tasha Wade from Palm Beach Gardens High School. FYI, that QR code actually goes to our website if you want to scan that QR code. Right there in the corner there. But then we're going to go to the classroom from last week. We recorded this last week because this is kind of a precursor to our focus. And then after you see the video, it's going to be a discussion about the cover and some of the key aspects of the cover before they started reading. And then today they're going to talk about what they've read and build their focus. So let's see that video that talks about what they thought about the book cover.
Hi, my name is Tasha Wade, and I am an ACE General Papers and English 2 teacher here at Palm Beach Gardens High School. I am introducing the FINE program to my ACE General Papers students because I feel that it is going to be a way to further develop their research skills, also with their reading, improve their reading comprehension, as well as critical thinking aspects. In regards to the reading comprehension, I think that it will help them be able to understand main idea and Arthur's purpose, how the plot is identified, different sequential items, things that will help them when it comes to vocabulary skills and improving in those aspects. So I'm very excited to introduce the FINE program to our students, and I think it's going to be very beneficial to their learning.
Now that you have the book, take a look at the cover, the front cover. I want you to look at it real closely because I have some questions for you about this book. We spoke a little bit about it, and you asked Miss Wade if you could use this book instead of doing a biography. I feel like once we get into the book, you're going to find out that in a sort of curious way, there might be a biography buried in here. So we're still sort of doing the biography project. So take a look at the cover. What's the first thing? Can anybody tell me anything you feel about the actual title of the book, Dreamland Burning? Take a look at the way the title is done on the book. Any clues there about the inside of the book, the story?
Maybe like something grim, because like the dark red aesthetic it's trying to like give off.
And very good. And what about the dark red? What things would you associate with dark red?
Blood.
Blood. Fire. Death.
Where the page is kind of red, it's like singed.
It's singed. Correct. When you think of the color red, what emotion comes to mind?
Mad.
Anger. Mad. Anger.
Fear.
Okay. Fear.
I think danger.
Danger. Very good. Very good. I think that everybody who gave an answer is correct about why red was used here. What do you notice about the title? What is it doing? The title does what to the two people? Separates them. Very good. What can you tell me about the gentleman at the top?
His pictures in black and white.
His pictures in black and white because it's very
old.
It's very old. Can you tell anything? Look closely. How is he dressed?
Like in the
Look
last
at
one.
And look at his hair. What is his hair? Do you see anybody with a hairstyle like that anymore? Really?
I can't see it.
You can't see him? Well, you have to look really close at his hair. Somebody said he was white. Do you think he's white?
Yes.
Yeah.
You do?
He looks
He looks white. Okay. All right. Well, we'll find out, won't we? And what can you tell me about, so I know now that the gentleman is from a different time, right? This is a very old photograph, okay? What can you tell me about the bottom photograph? What about that first?
very modern.
More modern.
More modern. What else?
It has color to it, unlike the other ones.
Correct. It's color instead of a sepia tone. They actually call this a sepia tone. It's a very old photograph. It's probably a tintype photograph. Or maybe it's not quite that old, but it's a sepia tone. So down here, it looks more like what you're familiar with, correct?
Yeah.
Color. And what about her? What do you notice about her right away?
She looks happy.
Well, how does she look to you?
happy.
She looks happy.
I don't see happy.
You don't see
I
how
don't think I
feel like
see fakes.
Like I see a
Charmin.
smile.
Charmin. What else?
Yeah.
I didn't hear what did you say? She looks what?
I think she just looks like neutral, like fluorescent face.
Fluorescent face, did you say that?
Resting.
Oh, resting. Oh. Okay, a resting face. Okay. All right. To me, she looks a little curious. And somebody said when they looked at this that it looked like it was singed. Can you tell me anything? What else about the edges of the top photograph and the bottom photograph? It looks like somebody did what to them?
Burns them.
Oh yeah.
Ripped them. It looks like they're ripped apart. Very good. Okay. So they have ripped this apart to purposely separate them? Do you hear that? It could be that they're trying to pull out a piece of information. So as you read this, I want you to think back to everything you've told me now about the color red. I want you to specifically remember that you said ripped out a piece of information and see if that comes up anywhere in the book in the beginning. There's a clue for you. So I want you to be excited about reading this. And I asked earlier if anyone knew about the race riots in Tulsa, and several of you raised your hand. I'm not sure how much information you've really read about it, but this book is going to give you real true facts mixed with some fictional characters to make you more enlightened about a major part of history. But do you see what does it say on the cover? Underneath the author's name, Jennifer Latham, what does it say?
History isn't over.
History isn't over yet. And to that end, Ms. Wade was made aware of something today, which is extremely interesting if you want to share that with them. Sure.
Okay, Ms. Feck and Mr. Long sent me some information as far as when it comes to the Tulsa race riots. Just on NBC this morning, CBS this morning, they were talking about that 6 new bodies were found from the Tulsa race riots back in 1921. Were found this week. And just giving a little bit more information so that you can understand how this really impacted our history, and history that so many of us had no idea about.
All right. So that was some good discussion about the cover. I would never knew that there was to be so much to talk about on a cover of a book, because we're taught not to judge the cover. So we're going to go live to the classroom, and we've got our colleague Tasha Burke-Peart from EdTech, and she's going to be joining us live in the classroom. And Tasha, why don't you guys talk about what's going on with the discussion? How's the discussion going?
Well, we're just about to get started. I'm here at Palm Beach Gardens High School. Hello, everyone. Tasha Burke-Peart with EdTech, and I'm here with the media specialist, the wonderful, awesome Mrs. Feck, and the language arts teacher, Mrs. Wade. And the students are just about to get started with their brainstorming session. They've read about a third of the book, and so now I'm going to switch it on over and let them start their discussion.
Okay, so today we are going to start with the letter F, fines. Obviously, which is our focus. And it's gonna be up to you as students to decide what kind of research topic you want to focus on for your project. So we're going to begin this session with some brainstorming. We need to brainstorm a few different topics, and then as a group, then we can then narrow those topics to better suit what it is that you would want to do.
So as you think about the first, you read 73 pages, and a lot happens in those first 73 pages. So as you think about what you read, just don't all shout out at once, but maybe just raise your hand and let us know what occurred in those first 73 pages that you would like to further research.
For me, what like stood out was the bar scene. Like it really jumped out at me what happened because like there were so many things going on, like the peer pressure, the drug, not him, William being drugged basically, him being racist, like a lot of stuff happening at the same time. And I think it's important to research that in the terms of like how racism and like how equality was back then, which
Okay.
led to everything happening in the book.
Excellent. Racism.
Racism in maybe the 1920s.
Yeah.
I wanted to add on to Sean's idea. I would have liked to see Clarence's own perspective on what happened and what his own thoughts were. Like that would have been nice.
Okay.
Like what happened to him, like because he got punched and hurt. So I just wanted to see what was his.
Did a lot happen to him after the incident?
Yeah.
So,
To know.
the perspective maybe from Clarence Banks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anybody else? That's how it started, but
Right.
what else happened?
Oh,
How, like, the people that were doing the work weren't documented, so they had to leave. And something, like, she talked about somebody undocumented doing work, but they didn't pay them.
Okay, so should, go ahead.
No, I was just like asking about the workers that were
Yeah.
funny.
So, right, we could talk about our undocumented immigrants. Is that,
The ones that were related, because when they were talking about it, when she went through the coins and she showed it to her friend, that they were from 1921, who's from the race riots were going on. She said the racism had gotten better when we had the argument.
And that's really good that you caught that. Thanks.
I think was the last.
Yes.
How the police, when they found the body and then the police came to the house, they talked about how the police said that they weren't gonna further investigate because it happened like a while ago. And they have new stuff to like worry about. Like I wonder if like you could like research like how like the police department was back then and like how they said today, like if they still do that, like because it's old, they won't worry about it as they have new stuff.
Okay. Police.
Practices?
Yeah, practices from the 1920s. Yeah, versus recent. And then there was one right there was one right before that. Okay.
Talking about has racism improved?
Could you add that on to racism? Because if we're gonna make a different thing, wouldn't you put for top racism like how it was 1920s to make it different?
Okay.
Okay.
So we could put 1920s.
Racism, and then in a different
Present
column,
day.
how is racism better or is on it like less?
Okay. Okay. Any others?
The thing with Vernon Fish, I'm pretty sure.
Um,
what would you want to investigate about burning fish? What the actual reason for trying to do this? Okay. So burning fish possibly and the Ku Klux Klan recruitment? You kind of dodged some of the questions. I'm sorry, what did you say? He dodged a lot of the questions that were asked towards him, and he seemed to ask extremely suspicious questions. Had his own point of view that that's everything else.
Because William is also, they call him a half-blood because he's white and it has Indian blood. So it'd be weird why he's trying to recruit him. Like, he's not even fully white.
Fish, capitalized. Recruiting William into, you might want to add here into the KKK. Any other topics that you may want to research?
The influence of the KKK, because Vernon, I think they said that he was only like a couple years older than William, and yet he's talking to this fully grown man with a child. Like, he's like equal to him. And he's like, oh, we'll do this, and so he has all this power over him, yet he's not even that, he's younger than him by a lot. But he could be his own son.
Okay.
So the students have come up with so far some really good ideas on topics that they can focus on based on what they've read so far in Dreamland Burning. While they continue the discussion, I'm gonna turn it all over back to you, Jen.
Thanks, Tasha. So they've got some really great ideas coming on. I saw like 4 or 5 ideas. What we'll do is when we broadcast next, we'll actually share with you what was the final topic they picked with, because that's when we start the investigation piece. So let me give you a little preview of what's to come with that focus on the eye, which is our next episode, which will probably happen sometime after spring break. We'll let you know the date soon. So in the eye, we're going to talk about basic search tips. So like everyone goes to Google, but there are other search tips. And we're going to talk about Boolean operators to help improve searches. So we don't get 5 million results. We can get like 10 results or something like that. Then we'll focus on using databases. And the district provides a lot of databases for our students for research. And those resources are free for our students. And so we want to share how to use some of those databases, highlight them, and use them as part of this research project. And then we also want to talk about using your local library. What people don't know is that our friend Tasha there actually works part-time at one of our Palm Beach County library systems, and she's going to share with you some features about some free resources that the public library gives us, just so that we can go and they can help that. And then we'll talk about gathering resources for the I. We're going to do the I and the N pretty close to each other, but that's going to be our next episode. So I hope that you'll join us on that episode, and we want to thank you for joining us, for putting the focus on the F. And I want to say for all of us at the EdTech training team, as well as the whole department, we really thank you for watching, and we'll hope you'll share with us. Also later today on Twitter, you can rewatch it. And if you'd like to post a comment on things that you do to focus on the research topic, you'll share with us on Twitter. So we thank you for watching, and thanks again.